Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel, and today we are going to be talking about Animal Crossing and the possibility of Animal Crossing being revealed very soon. The next Animal Crossing being revealed very soon. I was actually going to record this video yesterday, but I'm glad I waited because Nintendo gave us some breaking news this morning. Let's head over to that. All right, so here we go. This morning, Nintendo tweeted out, "Join us on September 12th, 6 a.m. Pacific, 9 a.m. Eastern for a Nintendo Direct. Tune in for roughly 60 minutes of information on upcoming Nintendo Switch 2 and Nintendo Switch games." So if you have been following along with rumors and stuff like that, this date was very much talked about, and it came true. So there you go. Couple things that stand out about this: 60 minutes. I mean, that is significantly longer than what we're used to for these directs. Generally, you can expect between like 35 minutes to 45 minutes. So kind of huge that it has an extra 15 minutes added to it. In my personal opinion, this added time, I mean, it's going to be a good thing, but they might spend a little bit more time on a specific game. So that's maybe why they need more time, or they just have a lot of announcements for us. So very exciting. But let's go back to Animal Crossing, because I think ever since New Horizons was announced, at this very moment, it is the highest likely chance that the next Animal Crossing game will be revealed. And I want to get your opinions in the comment section below. If you have strong opinions, like, yeah, I think it will be revealed actually, or no, Pat, stop it. Okay. All right. So I want to go into a couple of things here. I do want to talk about directs in general, because I do think that this does lend itself for a nice foundation of what we're talking about today. So Nintendo has these Nintendo Directs throughout the year, and each one of them really serve their own purpose. So they have one in the beginning of the year, and I think that one is super important because that really shows like what Nintendo's plans are for the year. Okay. So they will give new announcements. Hey, this is coming out later this year. This is what you have to look forward to. So I always think that those are super important, and that's their purpose. Okay. Then they have a summer direct, which basically highlights games that are coming out soon and is kind of a mixture of like teasing things for the holiday, but also they will throw an announcement or two in the summer direct that might be far off in the distance. So summer directs are very fun. September directs, though, the main purpose here is to highlight and show games for the holiday season. So in this case, Pokemon ZA, possibly Metroid, things like that. But also the September directs does something that I personally like. They show off games and teases that are coming out the following year. And I love to hear that. I love to get excited as a Nintendo fan. It's nice to like get more information about the stuff we already know, but it's even more fun getting announcements for things in the future. So I do think that Animal Crossing could fit that slot of, hey, here's a new game, everyone. It's not going to come out this year, but get excited. And I kind of want to go over to, if you think I'm crazy, I want to go over to this direct here, which was September 13th, almost exact date, September 13th of 2018. And this one was only 38 minutes long. However, I want to, let you know what they ended with here, because they gave us a double dose of Animal Crossing. Of course, Isabelle was announced as the latest Smash character, so that was really like out of left field. Isabelle joined Smash Bros. That was crazy. But then they faded to this, which was the announcement for Animal Crossing New Horizons. Now, basically what they did was they had a little cutscene in the same engine as New Leaf. So I do expect maybe something like this for the next game, but in the New Horizons engine. And then at the very end, they teased Animal Crossing 2019. I think if we are going to get something in this direct, this is kind of the caliber that we'll get. So Animal Crossing and then it'll just say 2026. And whether or not they hit that mark, we'll deal with that later. But I personally think that we have a good shot of seeing the next Animal Crossing game. And instead of the Smash Brothers announcement, I do think that there is a chance that we get a double dose of Animal Crossing. And I think the perfect thing for Nintendo to announce would be a Switch 2 version of New Horizons. And you might be like, well, Pat, the updates are over. That's okay. Let's have a Switch 2 version, add in some content. And the purpose of that would be to get current Animal Crossing players over to the Switch 2. I think that is their main barrier right now, is because, yeah, you do have games like Mario Kart, but you don't have a ton of casual games getting over that community of gamers, like the very casual, cozy gamers. Like, you don't have anything as of right now to get them over. And I think a New Horizons Switch 2 version, and then the big bombshell of Animal Crossing 2026 is pretty realistic. Let's take a break for a second to talk about today's sponsor, which is Rocket Money. Now, talking about finances and budgeting is never a fun topic, but it is super important. And one thing I struggle with in particular are subscriptions. And I feel like I start a lot of free trials, or I'll get a subscription for a very specific thing and I'll always forget to cancel it. And that's where Rocket Money comes in. So you hook up your bank accounts, your PayPal accounts, and it shows you what subscriptions you're actively being charged for. And I did this and I saw that 2 streaming services in particular, one of which I haven't even used for 2 years, I was actively being charged for. So you can just go on there. You can even cancel from the app itself. Just a couple taps and you can cancel without having to deal with customer service people or anything like that. So it's very convenient. So besides that, they will also help you with budgeting and lowering your bills, which I didn't even realize. So they will actually negotiate your bills and sometimes can even lower them, such as cable bills, phone bills, things like that. So let Rocket Money deal with all that stuff. You don't want to deal with it. So if this has you interested at all, head over to rocketmoney.com/Nintentalk. Click the link in the description. That lets them know that you found out this information from this video. Helps out me, helps out you. So start for free today. Unlock more features with premium. Thanks again for sponsoring the video, and let's get back to the rest of it. Now, if you still weren't convinced, I just kind of wanted to go to a Nintendo Direct that we had a couple years ago at the time of this recording. September 14th, 2023, and they ended the directs with a game that wasn't yet out. Oops, let's turn that volume down. Yeah, this was the Paper Mario Thousand Year Door. Obviously, this game was very much like done, but they did end with just a date teaser card. So the September Directs usually end with a tease of a game that is not necessarily coming out this year, but a game that is a little far off in the distance, you know? And they did actually hit that 2024 mark. So I just think this makes too much sense. This isn't even coming from a Animal Crossing diehard fanboy. This is coming from someone who's using logic and some context clues to really think like, okay, what big announcement would have the biggest impact for Nintendo at this point? I do think a Smash Bros would hit. I think that would do really, really well. But Sakurai's working on Kirby Air Riders. And knowing him, he's probably put all of his effort into that. I'm not saying they're not making a Smash Bros game, but he's definitely putting all of their effort into that. So what other game would have what other franchise, what other series would have that big of an impact? The only other ones that I could think of are possibly a Legend of Zelda game. That could be a possibility. I don't think Metroid Prime 4 is going to be in that slot because I do think it is still coming out this year. What other franchise would have that big of an impact? Animal Crossing seems to be it. I have been saying for such a long time that 2026 seems to be the perfect time slot for Animal Crossing, whatever it's called. That would put it 6 years past release of New Horizons, which if you do look at patterns of Nintendo, that seems to be the time frame between Animal Crossing games. Usually that 6 to 8 year mark. And you also have to remember, because a lot of people say, Well, if you look at when New Leaf was announced and then you look at New Horizons, like there was a lot of time in between that. There was, but Nintendo was also making games for not only one console, but they were making games for a handheld console and their home console, which their home console was failing. So I don't think they would put a big title like that on a console that they couldn't even sell. Now we're at the point where Nintendo is only making one console, so they can like really focus in on that. And I do think that the time lines up pretty well for an Animal Crossing announcement. Now, I do hate to end on a sour note, but I am hoping that this is going to happen. But I just wanted to end on what if it isn't shown? Okay, what if we have this September Direct, which is in 2 days, by the way, and nothing is shown Animal Crossing? I do think that this pushes the timeline another year for the next Animal Crossing game. I really do think that this Direct is super important for this series. If they don't show it, I'm not saying they couldn't show it like early next year and then it released later in the year, but I do think that there needs to be some hype and some build up for the next game. I think it just makes a lot of sense. So if it doesn't get shown, and by the way, that is the more likely thing of happening. If Animal Crossing does not get a mention or is not shown at all, I do think that that pushes my personal timeline up another year. So I am fully on board with the next Animal Crossing being 2026. But if they don't show it in this Direct, I do think that that pushes it to 2027. So we might need to wait a little bit longer, but I will reassure you guys that no matter what happens, Animal Crossing is one of Nintendo's top priorities. If you see any kind of advertising or pictures with the Switch and Switch 2, they always show Mario, they show Link, and they do show like Isabelle or Tom Nook or something. So this is one of their core 4, I would like to say, franchises that they are going to be paying attention to. So even if they don't show it, I do expect them to be talking about it very soon. That's just my personal opinion. No rumors, no leaks kind of attached to that. But I think we're getting it soon regardless. I think they almost have to. They're almost to a point where they have to talk about this series because it has gotten so big. The other thing that kind of lingers in the back of my mind is that usually when an Animal Crossing is released on a console, usually the console's player base is a lot bigger than what it is now. The Switch 2 is still brand new. And that's why I'm saying that it's just going to be a tease in this Direct. Like, it would just be a title card that says 2026 or, 2026 or something like that. And then releasing either in 2026 or being slightly delayed like New Horizons was, coming out in 2027. So that's all I got to say. September Direct is very, very exciting. I'm very excited. Let me know your predictions in the comments section below. No prediction is a bad prediction because this video will only be good for a couple days. Let me know. I'll see you guys in the next video. Get excited. I'll be streaming the Direct live. You can see me scream for joy or cry of depression. All right, everyone. I'll see you soon. Bye.